everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, welcome. We're the Garso twins. I'm Carly.
And I'm Britta.
And if you like this video or you watch any of our other videos and you like what you see, we'd love it if you would subscribe. Today we're going to be doing our best talc-free powder product recommendation. I did a blog post on this probably over a year ago for sure, maybe even 2 years ago. And I feel like my favorites have changed since then, so I kind of wanted to do a video version, and that is one of our most popular blog posts as of late. So I just thought it's something that you guys seem to be interested in, and I think it would be really helpful for other people that can't use talc like me. And Carly also has some recommendations, even though she doesn't really have to stay away from it.
I don't have an allergy, but
yeah, but
it's actually pretty prevalent now to have talc-free products, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're gonna go in order of category and then just pick our favorites. So I wanted to mention that a lot of cream products don't really have talc in them naturally, I would say, because it's a powder substance. So unless you're looking for something that dries down to a powder finish, there would be no need for it in a lot of cream products. So most creams are safe for me to use. It's really powder products that a lot of them include talc. So there's some brands that just don't include it in general, like ILIA. I don't think they have it in any other stuff. Lawless, I know, doesn't have it. The Balm doesn't have it in their powder products. Cover FX doesn't have it.
No, they don't. It seems like Hourglass doesn't, but then again, I don't think they advertise that.
Yeah, some of these we're talking about are talc-free, but the brands themselves aren't, which also I think is helpful, so you can kind of pick and choose what you want to try. But yeah, I just want to mention that these are all powder products just because that's where you mostly find talc, and that's where I had to remove it from.
That's where it's a challenge to navigate, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, first up is loose powder, which this was actually, in my opinion, the first category that actually started to remove talc. Do you find that?
Yes, but I think everyone was on that Laura Mercier translucent powder trend, and that is the #1 ingredient is talc. So I could never use it.
But then the Cover FX one that came out was talc-free.
I really liked that.
The Glossier one that came out was talc-free.
Yes.
So there was a lot coming out that didn't contain talc, which was great. But again, we have to like the product.
Yeah, and those two I liked and were in my blog post, but then I found these two powders and I like them more.
Yeah.
So.
This is our favorite. Well, it's your favorite, right?
Yeah.
Best loose translucent powder ever. It beats Laura Mercier in my opinion. I actually did use the Laura Mercier for a long time because I don't have a talc allergy like Britta does. But this is just the most stunning powder, and it's the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. It's in the pretty Hourglass packaging, which actually is the worst in this situation.
Yeah, it's hard to get out of there.
It has the strangest sifter. We don't really understand why they did this. It's very challenging to use, but it's very pretty. This powder, I would say, it almost has a light beige yellow tinge, but it doesn't show up colored at all.
But it does have, it must have a lot of mica because I feel like it looks a little, I don't want to say shimmery.
No, it leaves a sheen.
Yeah, a sheen to the
There's
skin.
no way you're going to be able to tell. You're just going to have to trust us. But
I like that because it doesn't make your under eyes look more dry, which we are aging, you guys.
Exactly.
And our under eyes are dry.
I don't even set my under eyes, so.
I do, but this one makes it better.
Yeah, it just has a stunning finish where it definitely mattifies the areas you want, but it's a slight mattification. It's not like Laura Mercier. If you pack that on, it just mattified. This will never do that. So if you actually are super oily, I actually don't know if you'd like this powder.
No, the other one I'm going to recommend you'd probably like
I think this is better for combo or dry skin, but it just looks stunning on the face.
Yes.
I don't even like a lot of powders, and this one is just a home run.
It's so good. And the other one I wanted to recommend was the Lawless Seal the Deal Classic Translucent Setting Powder, which, by the way, this is the travel size. I've had it for so long, and there's still a lot of product left. So just get the travel size.
What that is because, well, you can't see with this, but the sifters, a lot of sifters go down into the cavity of the jar, and then the fill bay is really small. It's very deceiving.
Yeah, but this one isn't.
But this one is not like that. Yeah, there's a lot of room.
And so they say classic translucent, but again, I think it has a slight tint to it. It's a little bit yellow toned, but don't let that scare you because on the face it doesn't look yellow. But I find that this really does help brighten my under eyes. If I'm looking extra dull that day, I'll use this under my eyes instead of the Hourglass. And I always use this on my nose to set my concealer because I just have really big pores on my nose. So I always put concealer there, and I like to set it because I don't know why. I guess maybe just because you're rubbing your face at points during the day, but my nose makeup comes off
Yeah, that's why I like stopped putting so much on my nose, because then I'm like, well, then it's more noticeable when it comes off.
Yeah,
you know?
no, but this really helps. I
Oh,
feel
good,
like
good.
I like put the concealer on and blend it out with the concealer under my eyes, and then I set my nose with this every day as opposed to this, because this does have a sheen, so sometimes it can look like too highlighted with highlighter on top. So I feel like this kind of like sets it in better. So if you're oily skinned, I would definitely recommend the Lawless over the Hourglass, but I have dry skin and I can use this just fine. It really does help brighten. It is a really finely milled powder, and if you just use a small amount, it just makes your face look brighter but also sets it in, which I really love. I was just actually shocked at how much I really enjoyed this powder. It's so, so good.
Oh, and there's also a travel size of the Hourglass that I used for, I think, 4 months before it was gone for me. So like a decent time as well. Not as big as that Lawless one.
Yeah, this one you would only need the travel. It's 10 grams.
Yeah, that's big.
Oh, this is 10.5.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, you guys, loose powder is very deceiving.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah, so you don't even need the full size. Just get this little one, and I think it's really affordable then. I'm actually shocked that I just found that out.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is bronzer, my favorite category.
I know,
I
it's
love
so
bronzer
great.
so much. Quick shout out, I still think the best bronzer ever was the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronzer. RIP, I love it so much. I still have it. I don't even think I can use it anymore though, because it's definitely expired. And that one was talc-free. But when I was looking for an alternative to that, I started using the Balm Take Home the Bronze in the shade Oliver, and this is my second one because I do love this so much. No one talks about it, but this is talc-free, and it's it's so dirty. What?
Yeah, it's just like so used. Good for you. I
use my product.
No, I just am so perplexed. Like, I feel like I use just as heavy as a hand, but Britta's products just look so like beat. Like, I'm like, does she like jam her brush in it?
Maybe. I don't know. I will say this powder does look weird. Like, it looks super dry in the pan. You would be like, that's gonna look awful on my face. But I promise it just leaves like a really nice, like, sheer, and I don't want to say sheer, light layer that has a little bit of sheen to it, so it doesn't make the skin look dull. It is the most like neutral toned bronzer I've ever used. Like the other two I'm gonna mention are definitely more warm toned, whereas this one is definitely really neutral. I think this one would work really well for fair skin too. Jen Phelps, formerly Beaudiction, she speaks about this one too because she has really light skin, and she said she can use this one because the tone doesn't make her look like it doesn't look orange, and that's the whole range of these bronzers. They say anti-orange on them. I think they nailed it. I also love, so the packaging is like, I don't like the design. This is not my style, but I love how slim it is. It's like really, really nice for travel. Do you have one you want to talk about?
Yeah, so, well, two, but, so the Hourglass bronzers, I'm actually scared to open this one because it fell out of the pan a while
be
back.
careful on the couch.
So I'll just like show you. This looks beat, and I've had this for 3 years.
Yeah.
But powder, I mean, it doesn't really expire, you know.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
fine. But this is the Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light Bronzer. I am obsessed with this one. This one is super warm and very glowy on the skin, but I'd say it's the most popular out of all 4 shades they have. And then this one is my newer edition, which is Nude Bronze Light, which is more of a matte, like there's not like actual visible shimmer in it like the other one. But it's still very glowy, because if you've tried the Hourglass powders, you know just how they are. Like, they're very glowy and sheer and buildable. And yeah, this is Nude Bronze Light. I have it on my face today. These powders are amazing. They do something magical to the skin. And actually, I realized today when I was looking that Hourglass has a whole section on their Hourglass Cosmetic website that says talc-free, and then they list all the products that are talc-free, which I thought was really awesome, because again, they don't really market themselves as like a talc-free brand, but so many of their products are. So if you have an allergy like Britta does, it's great that a brand does that. And I do love the blushes and everything, but I just think that their bronzers are something special, and they're talc-free. And I also think that if you also loved that bronzer that Britta did from Bare Minerals, this is the most similar formula.
We actually think they're made by the same.
We do. We think they're made by the same
manufacturer.
Same manufacturer. So if you like that bronzer as well, these are obviously more expensive, but as I said, I've had this one for 3 years, and it only is missing a chunk because it fell out. But
pretty good, yeah.
I've used this to death, and there's so much product left, so it's definitely a bang for your buck.
Okay, next up is the ILIA bronzing powder in the shade Drawn In. We just did a
love
video on this. We love it so much. This is probably my favorite bronzer because it is matte, but again, it just leaves like a really nice like satin finish on the skin. I would say this is more warm toned than the Balm bronzer, but still neutral enough. I feel like it could work with an assortment of skin tones. It blends out beautifully. It wears really well.
It wears really well.
Yeah.
I feel like it lasts all
It does.
day.
I can't say enough good things. Again, love the slim packaging. Love that about this. And just the packaging in general. Love. And then the Lawless, the Summer Skin Velvet Matte Bronzer in the shade Golden Hour. This packaging is a little bulky, so I mean, I appreciate the mirror and the magnetic closure, but I don't think it's necessary. This formula is just like, it's so powdery that I went through this product super, super quick. So that's my only gripe with it because the price is a little bit high. And I obviously like have hit pan on it. But this one's really beautiful. I would say the ILIA I could use like every day no matter what my skin tone is. The Lawless is more so when I'm a little bit darker, like maybe this is my like summertime bronzer. Again, similar tones. This one's more neutral. I think the Golden Hour is a little bit warmer, but really, really beautiful, complements my skin tone. I think this one is a bit more pigmented, so I don't need to like dip back in. It like just builds, but it still builds up really well. They're actually, the formulas are super, super similar. So if you like this one, you would like this too, if you're trying to find like your perfect color. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. And I wanted to mention all three because they are all different tones. The formulas are a little bit different. But they all do give the same effect. I would say like they're all like more of a satin finish,
They're all
buildable, pressed. I love a good matte bronzer. I just love matte bronzers. I don't know what it is.
I know. Okay, next up is blush, which in my opinion, I actually don't think a lot of blushes are talc-free.
They're not.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, except for eyeshadow.
Yeah, it's very hard to find,
Especially
which is
at the
so
drugstore.
strange because bronzers there's a lot now.
Yeah.
I guess people don't want to remove the talc. I don't know. But this was such a hidden gem find at the
guys,
drugstore
it's
for
so
us.
good.
We ordered this on Target.com.
Yes.
Right?
Mhm.
We saw it hit Target.com and we were like, that looks really beautiful. We're gonna try it out. This was right when quarantine started, so we couldn't like actually go to the store. And it's just amazing, amazing. This is the Almay. What are these even called? Heavenly Hue Blush.
No, Healthy Hue.
Oh.
But I was saying when we
Healthy
first talked
Hue
about these,
blush.
that's the perfect name for these.
Yeah, they look like your skin is healthy. We've talked about this shade specifically, which is
Nearly nude, right?
Nearly nude, yes. How it's the prettiest eyeshadow
Oh my God,
ever.
it's so beautiful. We used it in Get Ready With Me where we used it as eyeshadow.
It's just so beautiful. It's very hard to describe. I would say this has to be baked.
Yeah, I guess.
Or some sort of like slurry.
It's almost like cream to powder.
Yeah, like maybe a slurry. I don't know. It's some interesting technology that's
Yeah.
happening. Where are these made? Where does
And
it
it's
say?
like a satin finish too.
Yeah. We can answer.
They're made in Italy.
Okay, then they're baked.
Yeah.
Then these are definitely baked.
How did they get this price point?
I don't know.
Because this also has like a magnetic closure.
Yeah.
Again, this is super bulky. I don't think this is necessary, but it's nice.
Yeah, so this has to be baked formula then, just from
Yeah.
what we know from Italy. It's just, yeah, it's like a baked brick, very similar to the Hourglass.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like those bricks. So it's just a lovely formula. It looks glowy. I mean, it definitely looks glowy,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make your skin look textured.
Yeah,
like
it says
I want them.
healthy, radiant finish.
Yeah, I want them to release a highlighter version. 'Cause
Oh my God,
wouldn't
can
that
you
be just
imagine?
stunning?
Oh no, we need that now.
Because like it doesn't accentuate texture at all, but it gives you this
Because
stunning
that's my gripe. I like matte blushes because I feel like with shimmer
Me too.
blushes, sometimes they can just make your skin look so textured.
right
Even
where
if
you don't want
have
it. You
texture,
guys
though.
know in this area where all the pores are. You're
Yeah.
like, please no.
But this one doesn't do that. And I also have the shade, because when we did go to Target, like when quarantine first started, that
Oh,
first
wait,
trip,
that's
I bought
right.
this to like, as a quarantine treat for myself to like use at home. And I love this shade as well. It is, which one is this? Where do I see the shade? Oh, So Peachy.
Oh, okay.
We can swatch them for you guys.
Yeah.
I have used it. It doesn't look like I have, but I have used it. Really, really beautiful shade as well.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot for a blush to find its way into my bathroom drawer of like my everyday makeup,
Yeah.
and this has not left since we got it.
I know. It's their, I almost want all the colors because they're only like
I know,
four.
but they're not that cute, I gotta be honest.
The other
should've-
ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the peachy for summer.
I wish they had an orange. I feel like an orange
This
would be
looks kind of
so-
orange on the skin.
Does it?
Yeah. Well,
Okay,
swatch it.
well, I
and
feel like
then-
a true orange would have been really pretty, and they missed the boat on that one.
Yeah,
but,
true.
This shade is definitely our favorite.
Yeah.
We love it. I could talk about it forever.
I know. We've been
So-
rambling.
Oh, and it's only like $8.
No, it's like 11.
No, it's $8.99, I think.
No, I think it's 11.
I just looked.
We'll link it down below. You guys click on it. Let us know.
Okay.
Okay, then I've spoken about this blush so much, so I won't bore you. But the Bare Minerals Bounce and Blur blush in the shade Blurred Buff is my favorite blush, I have to say. This is the blush I use just about every day. It's so beautiful. I would say this is definitely like a cream to powder finish. I use a stippling brush to apply it. It blends out effortlessly. The shade is like a peachy nude, my perfect everyday shade. A little goes a long way, so I feel like this would last you quite some time. I love Bare Minerals in general, but this is like was such a standout product to me, and it's talc-free, so.
And I feel like people talked about them when they first launched, and now no one really talks
I know,
about
and
them.
I still think, like, I have this in my everyday drawer, and I use it. I used it today. I literally use it, like, every time I do my makeup.
Okay, highlighter is next, and again, I don't think there's any powder Hourglass makes that has talc, but I specifically was looking and I double checked that their metallic strobe formula specifically is like my dream highlight. Besides the next one we're just going to talk about, these are my two favorite powder highlights, and they're both talc-free, which is so random.
Yeah. I do think a lot of highlighters are.
Yeah.
Because they could just contain more mica.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. But this formula can only be found in this palette that is no longer made. This is what is this? The Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. Maybe they'll bring it back because they did bring it back briefly, but it's this one right here. This is Champagne Metallic Strobe, and then, but they brought back the Trio palette, so that's why I'm talking about this, because it is possible to get this formula now, which I think it's just called the Metallic Strobe Trio, and it has 3 shades of this formula. I still have no idea why they won't launch these as singles, because they would be a hit. They are the best highlight formula, like they're so amazing, and they don't have talc, and they're very, like, it looks like beans on your face, but also because Hourglass powders are so like blendable and they just kind of like seep into your skin, it somehow looks natural but also is still very like kapow. It's very hard to describe, but I've used this in so many get readies with me, so you can just check that out. But I'm actually wearing the one that Britta's going to talk about today, so I don't have this on, but it's just an amazing formula, worth the money.
And then as of late, this has been my favorite highlighter, and I just wanted to pick one that I would recommend that's talc-free, because I don't know about you guys, but, and not like I'm over highlighters, but they're not something that I buy a lot of, because I just find a few that I like and I just rotate those. So
because you're also kind of like I've had this for like maybe 2.5 years.
Yeah, they last forever.
But I'm also like, nothing has trumped it until this one came out, and that's like, so really, there just isn't a lot that come out that I feel like are super impressive.
But if you're gonna buy one, gotta recommend the ILIA Daylight Highlighting Powder in the shade Decades. It is so beautiful. Maybe it doesn't look special in the pan, but on the face,
I have it on
it's
too, yeah.
gorgeous. It just melts into the skin. It looks like a cream product. It's stunning. The undertones in here are so flattering. They don't look stripy on the skin. They just give the perfect amount of glow that's suitable for daytime, suitable for nighttime. Absolutely beautiful. 10 out of 10.
I think I might like it better than the bronzer, which is saying so much.
I know, I really like the bronzer, but I do have those other 2 bronzers that I use and rotate through, whereas this, I've like only been using this highlighter.
It was a shock how much I love it.
It's so good. Okay. Last are eyeshadow palettes, and I do have to say, when it comes to talc-free products, eyeshadow was the hardest to find alternatives, because there's so many eyeshadow palettes on the market and so many brands just choose to include talc, and I get it because it obviously is like a binding ingredient. It makes things really silky smooth, it makes them matte, so I get why they use it, but for me it was such a struggle, and that's like the one place I tried to cut it out the most, because like the talc was actually causing a reaction on my eyes and like around my eyes. So I've since found some that I just can't live without and I use every day, which I know I've spoken about these, especially in our clean makeup video. I feel like a lot of these are kind of similar recommendations, just because the clean brands oftentimes exclude talc from their ingredient lists. But my favorite being the ILIA Necessary Eyeshadow Palettes. The warm nude and the cool nude, I love them both. I use the warm nude more. It's so dirty, but so, so beautiful. The mattes in here just blend like a dream. They're pigmented, but blendable. Like, they're almost like pressed pigments in the sense that you can like really pack them onto the lid, but then when you go to blend them out, they blend out really beautifully. There is a lot of kickback. I love the shimmers in here too, so, so stunning. And then the cool toned palette is also really beautiful. I don't use this one as much just because I don't use cool tones as much, but I just had to buy it because I love this formula so much. I just want them to expand these. Like, I just want them to come out with so many of these palettes. I would literally buy every single one because it's basically one of the only eyeshadows I use. So this is my favorite eyeshadow formula that's talc-free, but then I also love Lawless, the little one. Again, I use this just about every day because I love the colors in here. I do prefer the ILIA mattes, but there's something about this shade specifically in this palette that I cannot get enough of. It is Lush. Wait, no. It is Bonfire. That is my favorite shade from the palette. So a lot of times I'll use like the ILIA mattes and then I'll go in with Bonfire on the lid because I just love this specific shadow so much. But the mattes are good. I just spoken about this before that you just have to work with them a little more. Like, they're not as blendable as the ILIA. So the shades themselves are so beautiful and they last forever on the lids, but you do have to spend a little more time blending. So if you're okay with that, I would really, really recommend this palette. And then this one, okay, so Anastasia Beverly Hills is not known for being like a talc-free brand, and a clean brand, yeah. And I don't really use their products aside from the eyeshadow palettes because talc isn't listed as an ingredient. I think it's in a couple, but at least the ones I have, it doesn't list it. And I haven't had any sort of irritation from these shadows. So I wanted to mention it because even though they don't use this in their marketing story, it seems like these are talc-free because I have yet to find talc on their ingredient list anywhere. And so I love the Soft Glam palette. I think everyone should own this palette. It's my like go-to neutral palette. Obviously I hit pan on this burnt orange shade. I use it so much, but these again are kind of like pressed pigments in my opinion. They really pack a punch. You really need to like use a dense brush to like pick up the product and then more of a fluffier brush to blend it out because otherwise you're just gonna get too much pigment. So just be aware of like if you're not used to the whole like pressed pigment type of shadow, that is kind of like the gist. Like, it's not like a little bit picks up on the brush. Like, you kind of get a lot of pigment and then you really need to work to blend. So that's kind of like all talc-free shadows that I found except for the Lawless. Those are a bit drier, so those are a little bit different. But really, really beautiful shades in here. A really good mix of shimmers and mattes. The brush is actually nice too. Like, if you're traveling and just want to bring this brush, I think you could make it work. You do get a really nice, this actually is my favorite cream shade ever. Was this in Modern Renaissance too?
Yeah, it was.
The Tempura shade, it's like a satin shade. You can't tell on camera, but so, so beautiful. I use that on the lid all the time. So I just had to recommend this one because I know it kind of like saw its heyday, but a lot of people that were doing the eyeshadow video of like most like hyped up palette worth the money, hyped up palette that isn't worth it, and a lot of people spoke about this in their like videos, which I thought was interesting because it really had a moment and then no one really talks about it anymore. But I still think if you love neutral shadows, you need this palette because it just makes sense. It has everything you need. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. We hope it was informative.
Yeah.
If you actually have a talc allergy like Britta does, or if you just don't use talc for a specific reason, we'd love to know. Because then we can try to like focus our content this way too. Yeah, exactly. Because I always talk about it and I feel like I keep mentioning it like, oh, this is talc-free, but I feel like it's helpful because obviously according to our blog post, there are lots of people that are clicking on that blog post looking for talc-free products. I don't know why that is. You could just, like Carly said, be trying to stay away from it or have an actual allergy like I do, but either
There's
way,
the whole asbestos thing too.
Yeah, which we don't want to get into because we don't know enough about it to really speak on it, but we want to help you guys with these recommendations. So let us know like why you avoid it, if you avoid it, if you thought this was helpful, that would be great.